Welcome back to Railroads Online and episode 16 of the playthrough series. And we're picking up today's episode where we left off from the last one. And today we're going to build the second step, or the second part of building this 2.5% line down from the iron mine down here onto the mines plateau. And as you can see, I've already cleared the trees around the corner there so we can see where we're going to be building at. First thing we need to do is remove the groundworks that we used for that probably wasn't a good plan, but anyway, we wanted that height. We'll get rid of that one and we'll take a sample from this piece, which is the correct height, and we'll put that bit back. We don't want to delete that bit. Just in case we accidentally delete it again, we'll put another little short one here on the end. Okay, we need to delete all the groundworks we used as a string line to get down here, and there we go, accidentally deleted it again. Glad I put that second bit in there. And work our way all the way back to the top, deleting all this, so we're just left with some floating track. Now, this is the guide track. This is not the track that we drive the train on. This track's purpose, wholly and solely, is to have the corners at the right degrees, so we know we're not going to make the corners too tight in the final track that we put down here, and it gives us evenly spaced control points to connect the steel bridgeworks to. And you use steel bridgeworks for the simple reason that there's no z-randomization in bridgeworks, which means we get no bumpy odd grades in the overall grade. So this is 2.5, and if the Z randomization was in there, it could be up over 3% or under 2% for certain sections of the track, and yeah, well, we don't want that. Anyway, I will pause recording here and I will see you back up at the top. And welcome back again. We are back up at the top, and all the groundworks will be put down as the string line to mark the route where we wanted to go have been removed. And now we can take some bridges, and we want to be level with the top of here. Turn off the alt lock, put it on 2.5 down, and now we just run along and connect it to every single point. Because this track was put in at maximum segment length, it means that the steel bridge will fit to every control point. And this gives us basically a finish line that we can put the finished track on, and it will be at the correct grade with no Z randomization. Yes, and if people haven't watched Heiss's latest Q&A that came out yesterday, probably a good idea to go watch that, because there's a lot of new information in there. One of the biggest ones that I wasn't allowed to leak was that there will be no procedural switches in the update, simply because it would take too long to code them to get them to work properly and look good. Like, they'd work, but they would not look good. It was too hard for a procedure. It'd take a month of coding or so to be able to get the frogs and points, I think they're called, to procedurally generate into a switch of any shape that you could, pull together with just by connecting two splines together. Which, when it was suggested, I thought it was going to be a big ask to be able to get the splines to do that. And well, Koimi's run into dramas trying to get that to work. So it will be left out of at least the first version of the build tools in the next beta. And well, the other big news that came out in that was track on bridges will no longer be separate, and there will be no individual options for bridge work, and for rail decking it will be placed down as a combined lot. And because of that, you will no longer be able to stack your bridgework to make really big, tall sky bridges, which in a way is a good thing, but in another way it's a bad thing. You won't have the bridge object to use for, say, end of line stoppers and things like that. I miss a link. There it is. And well, that is something that I've been petitioning the devs to not do, because it's, and not only that, by keeping the same pieces that we currently have in the game and just updating them to basically the new spline system, the new way the wheels interact with the rails, would make it easier to be able to convert your current map over to the new system, instead of being forced to completely restart your maps again, which will be very hard to do when your only option for bridge is combined, and people have basically bridgeworks in places where you normally wouldn't have bridge, and they have decking rail in places where it's not really a bridge, like I do at the loading and unloading zones. I put in the bridge decking there as a marker, and that will not convert over to the new system, because it'd try and put a bridge there if you had some sort of a converter. So yes, conversion will be difficult if they're left out of the game, and if they are converted, basically you'll have to come through and rebuild those sections of the track anyway, for the simple reason that it would convert them to all be one particular type of track. And well, the only thing it can really put there is just either a combined bridge or a combined gravel and track. And then you'd have to come back along and delete the bits that you don't want in as bridge or groundwork. So you'd be rebuilding half your maps anyway. And probably with the big headache of trying to get everything nice and level again and not have any bumps. Oh, it looks like we've run out of... That's the full length of our spline then. So we'll lift it up once, down once. Oh, look at the correction. That was out by quite a bit. If you actually look at that, you can see this is the down and up, and it's about 4 inches below the tyres. And if we go up once and down once, it's level with the bottom of the tyres. So yes, that's why it's always put it up and then put it down, not the other way around. Otherwise we'll increase the grade going the other way. And we'll overlap one segment, come back here to this link, and same again, we'll put it on 2.5% down, turn off the lock so it'll follow the corners, and away we go again all the way to the bottom. It should only take 2 splines to get to the bottom at full length splines. We should nearly be there actually. So I'll give another warning to the people who watch my channel. If you want to continue to run locomotives, you need to get off of Beta Branch and make sure you are on the main branch of the game. And if you're not sure how to do that, it's basically the opposite of what you did to get onto the Beta Branch. And if you want to get onto the Beta Branch, you need to check the updates channel in the official Discord. And there's instructions there on how to get onto the Beta Branch. But the Beta Branch, when it comes out, will have build tools only. There will be no running operations of trains. There will be no trains that you can buy and run on the rails. There will only be the test train that was shown in the leak videos of the new splines that Heist did. That will be the only train there. It's a Betsy, or stripped out Betsy, with some black flat cars. And that will be the test train for you to test on what you've built. But it's all about making sure that the user interface for the build tools and the building itself is working properly on a larger level than just the Karimi testing it. And this looks like where we're about. This will be the last one, so we'll put it up one, down one, and click it in. And now we need to run some of these back because this is all level down here at the bottom. And we'll just do we'll do long single segment splines so that there's no z-randomization in it. That'll do. And come back here and overlap him some. No, that didn't get down level. And on top of the tyres. That one's level. And there we go, we've met in the middle. Now we can remove the... Actually, I want to keep this. So what I'll do, I want to keep this little line we've got here at the bottom. So what I'll do here, no, we don't want that. We want bridge depth, because there's no z-randomization in it. And if I start here, no, for some reason that went low. I'm not sure why that's going low. Why is that doing that? Right, from further out here then. No, I'm not sure what's going on there. Anyway, we'll put it in where it reckons it wants to be. I'll click it to that one and turn off the alt lock. There's our link. This will put this curve in here on level ground. But you can actually use a spline of the steel bridge on level ground to get rid of z-randomization. That does actually work. That in. Now we can delete this groundworks we put in here. Okay, next step is to remove the guide track off the top. Rails and delete all the guide track. Before we go too much further, somewhere here, we will see where these two meet. And it's this point right here. We want to put in a transition here at the bottom. So we'll come forward to here, start some groundworks, and we want to halve the 2.5, so we want to be 1.25. And now come back up a third of the piece that we put in. And half of 1.25 is, we can't do it. So we'll just make it 1.5. And we'll go 0.25 on the bottom. Move another length of that guide track. And the same thing again, we want to go back this way, but we want to go to, say, 1.75. No, we'll go to 2. And that gives us a transition then to go from the 2.5 to the level. All right, and all we need to do is run back to the top and delete all the guide rail off of it. And again, I will pause the recording and I'll see you back at the top. And welcome back again. We are back up at the top and we are ready to lay the finish rail down on top of that bridge that we just put in. And we'll mark where we're going to have an overlap here. A piece of rail. and we'll connect on to the bit that we've put out of the iron mine, and we will start our corner reasonably early so that we don't run into this little wall that's here. 5 should be okay to get past it. Now we'll step up a little bit tighter. I think we need to go 12. That's put us pretty much in line to meet up with it. We can start backing that off. Try and stay center. 7. Stretch it out so we can see where we're putting the direction it's going to be, and then bring it back to 9 ties and stretch it out to see where it's going to go, because this is nearly straight here. And now all we have to do is try and keep it as center of the bridge as we possibly can without making any weird kinks in the track, and we will get a nice uniform track all the way down. This takes a little bit of concentration to put in the finished track because we want it to be good. This is the track that matters. Yes, that looks really nice. We want to come level here, straight, so that we've got a straight section between our two curves. So we got to have a straight section between changes of direction, ideally, because this will start to get a little bit tighter here around this little bit of a hill. Yes, I have turned Heiss's background music up just a little bit. I hope it's not too loud. I hope it's loud enough that you can actually hear it. I can hear it as I'm playing, but I'm not sure whether or not the levels are right in the record software to be able to hear it. But we'll try it for today and see where it turns out. And I have been asked on the Discord how much the new spline system, the new track building system, will change from what I've currently shown in the tutorial videos. And it won't be much at all. Most of the track building will be pretty much the same method. Even segment lengths, and that will be much easier to accomplish in the new system for the simple reason that you can define a length with there's that little helper menu up in the top left hand corner. You'll have an option there to be able to define and set a length for your segment, and that alone will stop this bit of needing to run along and make sure that you're at this point where the rails are sticking out and then they're flush, and that's the point you want to put the track in at. You won't have to do that anymore. So it'll make track building quicker in that way. But keeping even space segments will still be the same. That won't change because it still uses the same basic method as of a Bezier curve. And if you don't know what a Bezier curve is, you'll just have to look it up on a search engine and get an explanation for it. But it's basically just a weighted curve through points. And the other thing that will change, well, you should not need to do these 4 steps of put down a string line, then put down a guide track on the string line, put down a something that doesn't have z-randomization as a basis to be able to put the track on, which is what we're building, that's the step we're on at the moment, and then deleting everything then except for the track and then putting the groundworks in to pretty it. It should all be able to be done now in one single step of build the track. Because everything's combined, and I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that the z-randomization is gone. I protested that when it first came in, that it was an unneeded mechanic in the game. But it was argued by the devs that, no, we needed it. So that there wasn't Z fighting in the groundworks. And well, I never got Z fighting in my groundworks because I always mitigated it, built in such a way that I'd never get Z fighting. So it was never ever an issue for me. But no, some people who didn't want to take that little bit extra time to, change the grade by 0.25 when they got to another piece of groundwork and just wanted to keep laying level, complained, and of course they got listened to and it got changed. And these people know who they are. And well, you ruin the game for people who like to, the easy way to build, because when it first came out, it was quite easy to build. You could just lay down your groundworks, and if you use the right length of rail for the same length that you put down in groundworks, everything met up nice and neat, and it'd stay center of your groundworks as you built, as long as you use the same numbers and the same lengths for the segments you use between the groundwork and the track. And a little short straight there. And I'm estimating that this will take 2.5 splines to reach down onto the iron mine flat, so the mine's flat plateau at the bottom. You only get 99 points, 88 segments, and 99 control points in a single spline. That's the limit. And I didn't count them. A few other people counted them as I placed them in on the videos, and they've checked it out again themselves in game. But yes, it sounds about right for the length that I build in. And yes, getting your splines as long as possible will reduce the total number of splines in the map, which makes the map load faster. For you and for clients joining on if you're the host, having your map load faster for them because there's less data to send them over when they connect. Makes for a much better experience in game. I don't know whether we got a little bit of a short straight there between that change of direction. We'll have to turn around and have a look. Yeah, it's very short. It's only about a segment of track long. That one might cause problems. But we'll know when we grab the cookie monster that's sitting at the top waiting for us to bring the hoppers down this line so we can take them to the smelter. Again, this is going to be another one of them points where there's not enough room to put a left to a right, and we might get a funny kink there. Oh no, we've ended up with a little tiny short straight. It might be just enough to put the next piece in so that we can see what it does. I don't want to exceed 20 degrees down here on this run, and so far that's the tightest curve we've put in as a 20. Are we already out of spline? I think we're already out of spline. So let's end the spline there. And of course you need to delete the last segment because the last segment does not comply to the spline. And we need to mark the spot where there's an overlap. And overlap to start again. Oh, we might need 3 full splines to get down here at this rate. Because we're not even, oh, I think we're at about the section that's usually 10% if you go on the marked route. Which is about a third of the way down. Try and keep those tyres in between the 2 side beams, the big I-beams on the side. Let that one go. Oh, yeah, we got a little tiny short straight there. Having the guide track and everything down to get to this stage, it makes putting this step in easier, but you still have to be careful of making sure that you actually put the track in nice and neatly. Otherwise the finished result will look like poo, and we don't want no poo-poo tracks. Oh, I think this corner here needs to go over. Look at that. Oh, we're just going to have to hang it wide just a little bit, I think. So I'm not going over 20. Get a little bit off that line that we wanted to be on. Now we need to point it back towards where we'll fit on the other end there. Going wide on the outside of the corner is not so bad as cutting the corner. Cutting the corner will increase the grade. Going slightly wider will decrease the grade. While we're in a straight line like this, it will not alter the grade at all to be not centre. There we go, now we're back centre again. Yes, ready to go slightly wide on that corner. That sometimes happens when you go from being full length segments for the guide track to 9 tie lengths, which is 9 tie lengths are about half of the full segment, so they're about 15 to 16 foot. Whereas the full length segments are 33 to 34 foot, which is they're 10.5 meters, because the game is actually all in metric, even though it's based in, you know, turn of the 19th century. Western America, or Northwestern America. game's metric, and everything in game's converted back to be SAE or Imperial. Like, even for the age of the game, that they didn't have SAE yet then. Everything was still fully Imperial, and a foot in one place wasn't the same as a foot from another region. It wasn't until they got standardized, but that's what SAE is, that's standardization of the Imperial measurements. Ooh, and this is going to be another 20 corner, and I think it's going to hang wide again. Quite happy with where that ended up. We had to go to 20 and go off the edge a little. Well, I'm with that age group that when I went through school, we were taught both metric and Imperial. So yeah, that's a little giveaway as to what my age is. Grandpa age. I think we're about halfway down now. There's going to be quite a few extra short little bridges than what you normally put in when you're on the... when you stay right on the marked route, because it's pretty much only 3 bridges you put in on the marked route, and I'm going to have a lot of little short ones here, plus the 3 big ones. So I really think that bit there that I went over there, that'll need to be a little short wooden trestle bridge there. And this is, we're at the bottom bridge here. So we can't be out of spline yet. Just didn't want to place there for a second. Alright, this is the big bridge at the bottom bridge. Hopefully that turned out alright, yep. We're not going over 20, so we're just going to have to hang just a little bit wide off the bridge. There's a tree still under there. I'll have to delete that when we work our way back up again and remove this bridgeworks. Put the finished groundworks in. I thought I'd gotten them all. Oh, looks like we're going to go wide again because I don't want to go that. Put a wobble in the track if we go too far there. That's nice, I like that. This time I think we're out of spline. Yep, that was the end of that. Right click and put it in. Delete the last segment off of it. This one here should be nice and easy to see because it's on a tight corner, but we'll mark it anyway. And overlap the first segment. And pull it back around to 20 where we were at. Back out of the corner quite a bit further than that. We'll go for 9. Give this one here, we should be able to get to 0 then. So we've got a straight before we turn back this way again. Come back to 9. 9 is the highest you'd ever want to go on the first segment after a straight. And that's what it gives you when you go from 9, so there's no wobbles. As soon as you go to 10, you'll start to get a little wobble in that bit of straight there. And it's going to be a slight increase of grade in that corner because we have cut across the inside there. There's not much we can do about that because we had to go wide on the previous corner. We're getting close to being at the bottom now. Oh, pardon me. Couple more corners to go. These are all nice easy corners here at the bottom. Nothing overly tight. I think this little spot here might need to have a little wood trestle bridge in it as well. We've got to get out past that jut It's when I did the one on Heist's hardcore map, I was actually at that height there. So we didn't have to deal with that little bit. I think you could easily put in, so from where I've started, you could easily put this in at a 2.25 and still finish quite nicely down onto the mines plateau. But there's no point putting this section of the track in at a 2.25 unless you've got the rest of the way to the smelter in at the same grade, which I don't think we would be able to get 2.25 from the smelter up to the bridge, and basically there needs to be a bridge put in here to turn back around on the marked route. And I don't think you get 2.25 from the smelter back up to that point. So yeah, ideal is to have all the grade the same all the way along, because the steepest grade's the one that's going to limit what weight of train can travel up it. So, there's no point stretching out this bit here, say, to be a 1%, and then I've got a 5% section somewhere. I may as well have done the whole section as 5%. You get what I'm saying? But I only intend to run 10 hoppers at a time, and the only thing that runs on this particular line is hoppers, and they only run up the line empty. And the cookie mogul, which will be my primary locomotive until we get the update for how the trains interact with the rails. I'll only be using one locomotive and it'll pull them up here no problem at all. So 2.5 grade is just fine. Yes, this is a new route that I've not seen anyone sort of take before, which is, like the low line down on the... Just coming down here, this is the transition on the dirt here. And we're nearly there. And we'll build all the way to the end of this. Because after this point here, I want to put in a switch and a passing lane here at the bottom. And the passing lane will be on the big curve that goes around on the mines plateau up here. I think we've run out of spline. And well, that's just fine. We can end it there. Delete the last one. Mark the spot. And we're on 7. Oh, 5 will do. Oh, look at that. We can't put the last piece on because that needed to be just that little bit longer. Oh, well, that's okay. And what a bummer we had to put in like a tiny little piece that was like 3 segments long. Because the next piece we'll put on here will be, and we want it on the right hand side because we'll be coming down. And we want to put that on there like that. So this will be the passing lane and this will be the through lane. Now I need to get rid of some duplicates. Right one, and that tells us where it was. And the other thing we need to do now is delete all the... I've got that piece there. As long as I don't delete that piece, it'll be fine. Not groundworks, you want to delete bridges. So we need to delete the bridge that we used to get all the piece in, and this bit here where we've got the put in the transition with a couple of straight sections at varying grades. Bridges, and delete all these bridge pieces. All the way back up to the top, and on our way up as well we'll also delete any of the spline joints where there's the overlap and the duplicate piece. And I will see you again when we get back to the top. And here we are back at the top again, and all the bridge works that we used to get the track in the right place and the joints have all been cleaned up. And the last step of the build is to put in the finished groundworks. And we're at about time for this video, so I'm going to end it here. So thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video where we put the finished groundworks and the bridge works and the rail decking down on this finished line. Ta-ta!